Welcome to Father Fish and the Natural Aquarium. Well, hi. Quite an introduction, isn't it? Nice to be here. We're now at Tuesday. Don't know where we're going. I had to shift from Thursday because I've joined a new church and they have their weekday group meetings on Thursday. And I do want to participate with them in that. So we'll try Tuesday. I'm sorry I missed Sunday. The brain wasn't working. Apparently, it never dawned on me that I had committed to be there on Sunday. So I was not there because of a cranial glitch. Hopefully that won't occur again, and I'll be back with you this coming Sunday. And then I guess Tuesday. I don't know how this is going to all work out. I'll tell you what I'm thinking, though. I got a message from Lee. Some of you from way back may remember Lee. We had joyous times together, but I met Lee and got involved with him and a number of other people when I was doing morning live streams. I think it was 8 to 10, I think, for over a year daily, 7 days a week, as near as I can remember. It was actually amazing. It was fascinating, and we all thoroughly enjoyed it, and built a real community in that process. I think a lot of people came on board then who have remained with us through the years. So anyway, I was thinking about trying to figure out how to do a morning live stream again. The benefit of it is that it's able to pick up people from literally all around the world during their waking hours. There is no midnight or no 3 in the morning anywhere in the world when it's 9 in the morning in the US and maybe 9 in the evening. But that's as late as it gets. So anyway, thinking about that, and we'd kind of like to do it. Whether I can work it out in my work schedule, I'm not sure. I think it would have to be a more running the shop kind of thing, and also would probably involve a lot more consultation and a lot more interaction with you and with others who are contacting Father Fish asking for help. So anyway, one of the things that we'd have to do is figure out how to get the telephone wired in to the video, to the live stream. And I don't know how to do that, so I have to figure out how to make that happen. But the reason is I'm getting calls all day long from people literally all over the world asking for help, and it would be a lot of fun, I think, to be able to do that online. Christian, happy to see you. And Diana Roach, hi from Seattle. Nice to hear from you in Seattle, Diana. Catherine Hayes, hello. Fish Tactics, hope you are doing well. I am doing well, thank you. I got another treatment today. I'm doing vein restoration. I've done a little bit of this in the past. I'm doing more of it now. I'm in I think it's a 4 series. I had my second treatment today. It's a very strange treatment. It's based on a particular problem that I have with the veins in my legs, in which the outer veins are not pumping appropriately. I think they become stiffened or whatever. So they're actually closing them off and allowing the inner veins, which are working well, to take up the slack and to handle the flow. And that's supposed to reduce inflammation, reduce swelling, and restore some of my skin quality that I've been struggling with a bit lately. So, had my second treatment today. I've got two more. It's just one more little thing I can do to try to keep myself vertical for another few years at best. Let's see. Let's talk about fish, baby. You got it, Greg. Glad to see you from Christian. Let's see. Hello, everyone from Fish Tank Dicks. Lots of hellos. Let's see. We love you, Father Fish. Jimmy Coleman. Thank you, Jimmy. Hello, my fin-loving friends from Fish family. Indeed, they're Fish fam friends. Oh, my. I am I am beset. Beset. Is that the proper word? I don't know. Beset. Besot. Besotted. I'm not besotted. That would be drunk. I'm not drunk. But I am. Does this move this way? No, it doesn't. I had not done this on comments on stage before. It's kind of nice. I do it for your benefit um, because I have it in larger print off to the side, right alongside the screen, so I can read it easily. But I've noticed a few other streamers are doing it, and I thought it'd be nice to be able to. Majestic Acres Farm. Hello, Lou. This is Mike. We talked on the phone at 1 today. Very excited to get the 75 started with all your stuff. You're in our thoughts for your house. Well, thank you so much. Majestic Acres Farm. Mike is setting up 75 dirted and called, and we've talked through the process of everything that he wanted, and he kind of went overboard. But I know he's going to be happy. So it'll be exciting. I did invite him, and I do want to invite those of you who are not on our Discord in the Father Fish Shoal to join us there. It is a joy. Join for joy. It is a joy. It is a place where all of our vast store of information rests. It is a place where all of our most dedicated leaders abide. It is a place where you can brag about your fish tank or your exploits in the fish world by picture and by video. In point of fact, you can have your very own channel on our Discord server. You also can get help. There are lots of folks that come in with questions and problems, and we do have a number of folks there who are more than equipped to be able to help and take that role very seriously. So it may take a few minutes for someone to show up when you pop in, but be rest assured they will, and you will get the help you need. Often it takes days to work through and really understand what's going on with your tank, but so much the better because it means we're really able to delve more deeply into your situation and discover not the easy, shallow, superficial things, but the deeper realities of your fish keeping and of your aquarium. Sid from upstate New York, we spoke earlier. I purchased a starter kit for the new tank today. Thank you for your advice. Well, delighted to be able to talk with you, Sid. Uh, these are two folks who called today to chat, and we were able to talk them through the early stages of setting up their natural aquarium. So again, that's something I do every day. I'm delighted to be able to do it for a more serious consultation. We do set up a fee structure. So you can buy half an hour of my time online, and I will be there for you for the duration of that in order to ensure that you get all the answers that you need and have personal time. If, by the way, that's something you want to do, we can do it on the Discord and to be able to do audio visual as well. In other words, I can be looking at your tank and talking about what I see in it. So we have a wide range of options. I was wondering if you have ever kept Sulawesi shrimp. I don't believe I have. I did just get some crystal shrimp, which I'm trying for the first time. These are caridinas, which require a softer water than I'm used to having or dealing with. Um, the coloration is, yeah, they're the what you're talking about is the caridina. So these are the first that I've had, and these are the crystals. They're white with red bands on them. Pretty little shrimp. So I have a new customer who is who has cultured them and is doing quite well to the point where she has extras. So I'm buying the extras from her, giving her store credit for them, and we're going to, for those who are interested, be learning and teaching how to maintain these. In order to do it, I'm going to set up an RO system so that I will have soft acid water, or at least neutral pH water. It won't be soft acid until it gets that way. I'm buying spring water, which is again neutral water. It's 7 O, so it's not acid and it's not alkaline. It's right on that deadline. By adding leaves, I can make it become more acidic, and that's the approach I'm taking to move it into the acidic range. So we'll see how it all goes and if I'm actually able to learn anything in the process. Thank you, Majestic Acres. Well, it was a joy talking with you. And we did get through a lot, I think. We were on the phone for a good while. Uh, Search me as a friend on Discord. I can never find people. Oh, Jeff Fairchild is saying. Um, yeah, you need to get into. Let me go over there a minute. We could look at this. Mine's going to look different is the problem. Let's see. Maybe we can do it anyway. Let me do this. Let's see if this will make any sense at all. Might not. Share screen. Discord. Share. Back. Well, where is it? Oh, right there. So this is the Discord screen. Can I get it bigger? More or less. The bar on the left-hand side at the distinguishes two basic formats. One is the information, which is all of these center column items. And by clicking on that, it'll take you to direct messages. I can't do it there. I have to do it over here. It'll take you to direct messages and the folks you're in conversation with. And that's what's in the left-hand column there. And then hitting this instant info for, well, that's not it. Here it is at the bottom. The Fatherfish Shoal. Clicking on that will bring you back. You want to be in the lobby as a new person. If you go into the lobby and then just say hello, you should be met by a friend. From there, let's see, we've got a bunch of new people here now. Let's see who's here. I haven't been here in a day or two. Darius Allison just showed up. Let's see. So you want to, once you get here, you want to read the rules, and then there's a secret word in the rules. You type that in, and they will then take you into the guide, and you can go from there to ask for help and to morning coffee. The central is if you get in the morning coffee in central, then there's a continuous conversation going on there. So, and in fact, I say Maeve is there. Maeve is everywhere. Maeve is the webmaster for the site, and she is a joy and as dutiful as it is humanly possible to be. So you can see up here on the left, I have messages from Racing Turtle and from Megan Bacook. Megan is a staff member. Racing Turtle is also a staff member, but a volunteer staff member. She does a lot of her YouTube work for us. Megan is our gal Friday. She does everything I want to do, and that's a big help to me. It's true. Anyway, do try to get over there. I know it's a little tricky getting in. I know it's something you'll appreciate once you can do it. Dan Hanais, I bought some new black neon tetras to replace the ones that didn't survive my initial population. I've isolated to prevent any disease spread. So far, they seem more healthy than the first group. It's always a good idea, particularly if you've gotten fish from a place that had weak fish or sick fish, to set them up in a little 10-gallon tank or even a bucket. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything special. Just with an air stone in it, a heater if needed. You don't even need to put substrate in it, just a bare environment for at least a week. Some people keep them for a month. Yeah, I don't believe you typically need to wait that long. A week is adequate. And do not feed them for the first few days because you don't want to build up bacteria. After a few days, if they look good, give them a little food. If they're eating well, then over the next day or two, you can move them into your tank. So it doesn't need to be a protracted process. It can be something just involving a few days. If they have ick, for example, it's going to be very obvious in the first 2 or 3 days. If they've got some other kind of disease that they're carrying, again, it'll be obvious. There isn't much that they can carry that isn't that is going to show up weeks or months later. Nothing really that would be an issue. So a few days, up to a week, and you should be good. But Generally speaking, the fish that I sell, most people don't acclimate. Um, and they really don't need to be. They're already acclimated. We're already taking care of them as best we're able. And if we do have an explosion, we never have explosions, an ick event. And I'll explain why that is, why we don't. But if we have an ick event, we see a few spots pop up on a fish, then we don't sell them until that's cleared up. Usually it's a 3 to 4 day off off limits, off sale kind of rule, and we mark the tank and kick the temperature up, try to protect people from that. Doesn't happen often, but when it does, we have an eagle-eyed fish keeper, Bryce, who sees such things. He can see a spot of it through a keyhole on the other side of the room. It's kind of amazing to me, but he's good. He's very good at it. I think it's because he worked at one of the big box stores and got used to dealing with it on a routine basis. So it's something he has a special eye for. My camera, I'm trying to do funny stuff here that isn't real stable. Oh, salutations from Spain, Lotus Fox. Hello, Lotus. Happy to see you. Let's see. Greg, get it on so easy to learn a lot of info, right? Yeah, Jeff is asking Grant. Yeah, it's a great source. It really is a great source. Maybe the best source for general information, but especially information about natural aquariums because that's who we are. That's what we're about, and that's what we do best. Did someone say Chum? My kind of channel. You bet, Pike B. Pike B Chum. Look at that. Cute. Yeah, this is Chum. That's what we're doing. That's what we do with Chum. We do it with all our videos, our conversation, everything we do. We're chumming. We're trying to attract those people who are looking for deeper, something deeper, something more effective, something stronger, healthier, perhaps more creative, but in a natural way, something more natural. To put it bluntly and plainly, something more natural. Let's see. Pike Beecham says, awesome seeing you live on here. I watch all your videos and I always learn something new from you. I made many tank jars from all the rivers and oceans I visit. Nice. Really nice. You say oceans, and that's really delightful to hear. I think some of my most enjoyable resurrection jars are brackish and saltwater. I have a tank. I'll have to show it next time I'm live in the shop, and I may do that Sundays. Do Sundays from the shop. Oh, I know what it was this past Sunday. I was at dinner. I was at I went to church and I was invited to dinner, and I went to dinner and it didn't leave until 6:30, 7 o'clock. So I just kind of I didn't blow it off because I never even registered it. But I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. Anyway, we'll try to. Oops. We'll try to be sure to be on Sundays, and then I might try to go to that morning format. I really would kind of like to do it for folks who are working who can have their TV or audio on in the background. That it works in that kind of environment as well. Doesn't work in every work environment by a long shot, but in some it does. So But there are lots of folks who don't work, uh, who are retired or stay at home or work at home, who would be able to plug in, and it would allow me to get back to the European crowd, which this is much too late for, and the Far Eastern, um, and even like the Philippine, Japanese, Indonesian. We used to get people in from the Philippines and Indonesia and Malaysia routinely, and haven't seen that in a long time. So I may try to do that. Anyway, what else is going on here? I got one bracket set up. I tried it for hating snails and whatnot. Fruitless endeavor. Hard to breed nitrodus snails. It's hard to breed nitrodus snails in captivity. I got some uh, nerites in brackish water. I put them in some time ago. I'm not sure anything is happening. It could be the tank is it's gold. It's a 40-gallon breeder, and it's gotten so thick with macroalgae you hardly can see anything. I keep it pushed back so the fish can be up front, and it's all local fish, um, which makes it nice. These are local Chesapeake Bay fish, but it's fish that range all the way down around the coast through the Gulf and down into Mexico. So it's fish that are pretty common. And they're doing well and they're breeding. I do have some gobies in there as well. I want to try to get more gobies. I'm going to put some clams and oysters in this spring, so we'll try to beef it up and do more with it. I'm going to start the natural pond soon next month. I hope Liz bought about 3,500 liters of cold water. Yeah, he has a Lotus has a beautiful design for his outdoor pond that I look forward to seeing it. Dan Haney says to shrimp, like ghost shrimp, carry the same illnesses as fish. Then they need to be isolated in the same way. Generally, no. Uh, what they carry is external parasites, and if they have them, you can see them and you can deal with it. But generally, no. Um, they're pretty hardy, and you adults will survive like in a tetra tank pretty well, but don't expect the population to grow because the baby shrimp are food for everything, for the tiniest fish. Everything eats baby shrimp. It's one of the natural and one of the most common foods in the sea is shrimp, and especially baby shrimp. So if you want to breed shrimp, you need to do it in a tank that has nothing else but shrimp. Snails are okay. Other kinds of shrimp may be okay. Um, but you can't do fish with them. Plecos, maybe. Corys, no. Corys will eat shrimp. They'll eat baby shrimp. They'll try to catch them until they do. So you're best if you're going to do shrimp to keep them by themselves. You do want them in a planted tank, however, so you can do the natural tank, the deep substrate tank. I got so many shrimp, I'm expanding tanks, says Pike Beecham, with a bridge on top to serve as a portal. Oh, isn't that clever? Well, that should be interesting. Shrimp will climb out of the water if you have a wet bridge, like water flowing slowly over it and back into the tank. The shrimp will come up onto that. So you really could bridge tank to tank. That's pretty interesting. That should be fun. And by the way, anyone who's local, if you have an exploding population of fish, of shrimp, And that's something I'm always on the lookout for and will always pay store credit for. And I pay $1 a piece for store credit for shrimp. They need to be um, about a month old, a couple of weeks at least. They can't take babies, but I will take smalls. So 2 weeks to a month, and I'll be happy to take them. Let's see, what else? We had a lot of those bamboo shrimp make the great escape. Yeah, bamboo shrimp are pretty cool too. A much larger shrimp. I had those, and I had a crab. I got some crabs that just they not only climbed out of the tank, they hid once they got out, so they wouldn't let you get near them. They'd run away on the on the floor. I had a concrete floor in my shop in Florida. They would get out on that and go under a tank in order to escape being caught. So sometimes it was difficult to get them back in the tank, and I think ultimately I gave up on them. I couldn't keep them in the tank. Are Nautilus good to keep? I don't know that anyone has been able to keep Nautilus. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. It seems that yeah, I have had Nautilus. They're extremely difficult to keep. Partly because Nautilus are a deep water animal. They typically don't hang at the surface. They can be found at the surface and they can be caught there. But and there are two types. There's the regular colored Nautilus shell. Then there's another one called a paper Nautilus that has a white shell, very delicate shell, beautiful shell. They're a form of octopus, and the octopus can be not difficult to keep, but I've had them a few times with not much luck. I think they require a pretty stable a pretty stable and substantial environment. Probably in a very large tank. I know public aquariums do relatively well with them, but they keep them in very large environments, and that I think would probably be the key. Vampire crabs, yeah, that's probably what they were. Vampire crabs. Are scuds okay to add with shrimp? Well, there's discussion about that. There's some people who claim they're not, that they will attack baby shrimp, and that may well be true. Scuds are predaceous, a predaceous animal, so my hunch is that you could keep them with adults certainly, but they likely would predate on baby shrimp, so that might not work out so well. Pike Beecham, you should look up streaming setting for your stream on here. Your bit rate might not be set right, making your video look clunky. YouTube proper bit rate setting for YouTube. Okay, I will look into that. That's not anything I've looked at. They're good food, are scuds. Great food for small fish and for medium fish. They're really really an excellent food. So it's worth growing them to feed out to other fish, and they're pretty easy to grow out. You can keep them in a bucket on the porch, and they'll with a population and some food to eat, they'll do very well. Let's see, are we getting everything? I think I'm keeping up here pretty well. I think I am. Right. Oh, I'm getting hot. I think my sitting alongside a space heater here. No wonder. Ugh. All right. How we doing here? We're at about 7:30. Um, I don't know if any of you have been following the situation in Iran. It's kept me up at night many nights, and I found a channel, Goldie. If you look up Goldie Iran, she's on about 5 hours a day, and is um, she actually was elected to Parliament in Canada. She's a Canadian, but is from Iran and has been um, following events in Iran, specifically from the point of view of the people of Iran and their revolution against uh, the Muslim regime. And it's just been it's remarkable. It really is remarkable to see these people literally putting themselves in front of guns in order to overcome the tyranny that they've been living under. I mean, people with no arms sacrificing themselves literally by the tens of thousands in order to bring down that demonic regime. And it is a demonic regime. There's really no other way to describe it. It is deeply and profoundly evil, and seeks to do evil in all of its endeavors. Has been doing so for these last 47 years. So my heart is very much with the people of Iran and with their struggle to be free from this awful, dreadful tyranny that they're living under. If you're not getting that side of the story, I suggest you do so. Because if you're getting the mainstream story, you're getting, frankly, a pack of lies, deceits, and fraud. For whatever reason, there seem to be political influences in our country and around the world who seek to make common cause with evildoers. And they may not appear to be evildoers themselves, but they're certainly either deluded or have agendas that are not wholesome, healthy, loving, godly agendas. So do seek out the other side of the story if you're not aware of it already, and open your eyes to what those who are fighting this battle are fighting it for. And they're not fighting it uh, for power or wealth. They're fighting it to save their lives from the destruction that's been heaped upon them for decades. I have a 2 year old father fish tank. My Java fern is starting to die off. What's your go to method to add potassium? You might try adding leaves. Build a food web. The food web is really kind of the key to the whole thing. Um, and it's something you need to start early on. It provides a wealth of natural nutrients, including potassium, iron, and others that are really critical to the health of the system. Generally, it's provided with food and with whatever plants are dying off, or the leaves of which are dying off. Generally, the leaves will die, but the plant will not, and it usually will put out new leaves. Now, that's normal for all plants. It's normal for the leaves to die. The leaf is a tool that it uses. That tool wears out and is discarded, and a new one grows. A bit less so with ferns, but it's also true with ferns. Once the fern has raised spore, it will typically die off. But if there's no new growth, then you do have perhaps a nutrient problem in your water column, keeping in mind that ferns take their nutrients out of the water and not out of the soil. So adding those leaves, a bed of dried leaves, uh, to your tank on a regular routine basis and allowing that to build up will provide those nutrients without having to put some kind of uh, fertilizer in. The problem, as I've described in other places and probably here with fertilizer, is it's too specific and it overwhelms the system. When you use it, you're putting in one or two or three supplements rather than a wide range of supplements, and you're putting them in at such a massive level that they literally overwhelm the ability of the plant to function normally. And so it's obliged to take this stuff in, which root may cause leaf growth. So you may see an explosion of leaves, but what you won't see is an explosion of roots, which means the minute that is no longer available, the plant dies, it withers because it doesn't have a root system, which it will get naturally from its natural growth process. The way it works in nature is that the plant puts off hormones, and the hormones they change based on the state of development of the plant. So a plant that's just seeding needs roots. It's going to put out hormones that trigger certain species of bacteria. Those species then consume a certain kind of nutrient, of element in the soil, and and convert that into a nutrient that the plant specifically needs in order to grow roots. There are other bacteria for stems, for leaves, for flowers, and so forth. Using fertilizer breaks that process and makes it impossible then for the plant to function normally. So I understand that it's used because the soil or the water become depleted of nutrients. But what we're struggling to do is to provide adequate nutrients so that does not happen. And that brings me to a topic I need to discuss, which is the function of Nutra of Aquapreta, the supplement. It's called Aquapreta based on a soil that was discovered fairly recently in the 20th century. That is an ancient soil from South America, from Brazil primarily, that the ancient Peruvians or Incas developed 1,000 years ago or more. And they developed it as a rich, loamy soil that had the ability to to um, how can I say this? Had the ability to grow into a wider body of soil. In other words, to take sandy soil and convert it into rich, loamy soil. It also, because it harbors bacteria, it doesn't it doesn't die. It can remain essentially in stasis virtually indefinitely. Bacteria survive deep freezes in the tundra of tens of thousands of years. Bacteria are not living things. They act like it in many ways, but they're really not alive in the sense that any living creature that any other creature, even microscopic creatures, are alive. They're another phylum of of uh, of of material of existence, but they're fundamental to life. Without bacteria, we can have no life because bacteria are the bridge to to the rocks, um, to the rocks, the rocks and the gases and the other elements of the earth to convert them, to break them down, to bring them into a form that plants are then able to use. So that's part of what we're trying to create now. We don't talk about that much because, frankly, it's way too complicated and it takes care of itself all by itself. There's little or nothing we can do to promote that. However, by bringing in the kinds of soils that we're using, which are a lot of carbon-based soils, like char. Char is a basic commodity in our soil mixtures, like peat moss, like manures, which are very rich in organics, um, and like the 20 odd minerals and mineral compounds that we add into to comprise the supplement, we create a complete substrate that that sustains itself for a very long period of time. I like to say 5 years because in 5 years, the full life cycle, food cycle of elements completes its cycle. It takes about that long for it to fully develop in your aquarium. And in that period of time, if there are nutrients there for that length of time, then everything is moving as it should. And when a depletion might otherwise occur, it's the replenishment is occurring. So it's that process of replenishment. I have a tank right now that's 27 years old, and I have not added any kind of fertilizer or any kind of nutrient to it at all in that entire 27-year period. I have had to take substrate out because it builds up. The action of organic material going down into the substrate increases its depth. That's what happens to ponds in fields. They increase the depth over a period of time to a level, if they're relatively shallow, to a level that fills in. That's like a rain pool would eventually fill in. Generally speaking, um, underground river or water table ponds don't fill in because the water is flowing nutrients along and moving them into usually deeper water and then ultimately into a stream or a creek or a river. So the nutrients are being flowed out. But where there is no flow, where it's a stable water environment, that will eventually fill in completely simply from the silting of the organic material that's precipitating into the substrate, builds it higher and higher. So every few years, I need to scoop out a couple of inches of substrate because it's a shallow tank. It's a 12-inch deep tank, not a deep tank at all. And it's normally about 4 inches, and it'll get up to six, which is halfway. So I take 2 to 3 out, and then it's good for another few years. Demonstrating what's really going on. There's substantial material that's going into that substrate. Now, the trick with the fern is that the fern is taking nutrients out of the water column. And those are limited by virtue of careful feeding, lack of fertilizers being put into the water, and the action of the substrate, which is precipitating everything out of the water column, keeping the water pretty pure. So the solution to that for plants that require uh, nutrients to be in the water column is to build the food web. The food web is simply an accelerated form of organic precipitation. It's providing leaves, tree leaves, which are a fundamental component of the life cycle of every body of fresh water south of the Arctic and north of the Antarctic. The entire Amazon, the entire water basin is predicated, the life in it is predicated on tree leaves. Tree leaves are the basic component of delivering nutrients into the water column. So it's a natural, normal, and really important, even critical step in maintaining a natural aquarium is to put dried tree leaves in. The question, are there any that are toxic? Not really. So long as they're thoroughly dried out, there are very few. Now, I would not typically put houseplant tree leaves or houseplant leaves in. They're too thick, they're too coarse generally, and they may have had one or another thing sprayed on them at various points for aphids or whatever. So you don't want to do that, which means you do want to be careful about where you're harvesting leaves. I like to go into forested areas and harvest them from wooded lot floors, because they got a nice range of leaves that way. And by the way, I take pine leaves. Dried pine leaves, I've never had a problem with. The oils are totally dried out. In fact, they're really extracted from the uh, the leaf before it's dropped by the tree. So by the time that leaf falls off, it's pretty dry. There are no oils left in it. And I don't have a problem with them. No, I don't throw them in by the handsful, but when they're mixed in with other leaves, I don't try to pick them out, and they do just fine. But a broad range of leaves is better because they break down at different rates. Oak leaves take longer to break down than ash leaves. There's some leaves that'll break down in a few days, others that'll take a month or more. Almond leaves will take a number of months. So if you're going to use almond leaves, you want to mix them in with a range of other kinds of leaves so you get the full benefit of of the breakdown and of the nutrients that are being provided. Because certain leaves provide other nutrients than other leaves do. They don't all provide the same thing. They're not all made of the same stuff. So a wide variety of leaves will go a long way toward providing the kind of nutrient base in the water column, and also particularly with new tanks in the upper layer of the substrate. If you're excuse me, if you're trying to grow carpeting plants, very difficult to do if you don't have any nutrients in that top layer. Those leaves and the detritus from that will give you that. You can also add a little mud, a little of the loose detritus from a pond right in there and let it settle into that top layer. Some people have tried putting leaves and particularly chopped up leaves or leaf mulch from a pond and then capping it with a quarter to and a half inches sand. Excellent, excellent for being able to get carpeting plants growing. It also provides some nutrition into the water column because it's gonna leach out. So the supplement, then the supplement provides, and again, there are well over 20 different elements and compounds that we put in the supplement, all selectively chosen over a period of about 20 years. Been working on the formula for that for about 20 years, a little longer now. Perhaps I started it in about 2020, about 25 to 2010, so 15 to 20 years. Contains a wide range of nutrients, some of which we've substituted because we found other things work better. The calcium, iron, buffers. Buffers are absolutely fundamental. You must have adequate buffers in order to maintain a stable pH. Otherwise, your pH goes traveling south and the plants won't survive. So you need buffers in there, and you need buffers that are going to be in there for the long haul. So you need a way for those buffers to be able to, in effect, replenish, to be able to maintain a stable environment that's not acidic, not pushing it toward the acidic, which means that the organics need to be consumed at an adequate rate to prevent them from forcing the water to become acidic. It's a very complicated thing that's very, very, very simple to reproduce and to recreate. We try to make it as simple as possible. Now, we don't know everything. We study and we research and we try to learn from the best. And frankly, the best are not in this field. They're in a horticultural field. There's tremendous amount of work going on in horticulture these days, dealing with organic farming. And that's really what we're doing. We're doing organic farming in an aquarium. So we're reaping the benefit of all of the research that's going on in the organic farming field, and it's a burgeoning field that's taking over much of farming, particularly in third world countries, but increasingly in our own because it enriches the soil. It doesn't deplete the soil. And that's so much a part of the process. That's what terra preta is. To get all the way back to the beginning of this, terra preta enriches the soil. And that's what this material that we've put together is doing. And we feel good about being able to refer to it as aqua preta because it really does do that. It really does replenish soil from being able to be depleted. It's a constant replacement process that as it develops and becomes more stable, cycles in a massive cycle, far beyond the simple ammonia to nitrate, nitrate to nitrates. That's one of 1,000 cycles. We're fond of talking about the ammonia cycle or the nitrate cycle. Well, the that takes care of itself, frankly. If you have anything at all in the tank that's organic, it's automatic. It takes care of itself instantly, literally instantly. Or by organic, I mean plant material. Plants absorb ammonia directly. They don't wait around for it to become nitrate. They absorb ammonia directly. They absorb nitrate directly. They absorb nitrate directly. So if you put plants in your tank, you will not have an ammonia spike that will create a problem. Now you might test it and find some ammonia because it simply hadn't been picked up yet, but they're working on it. You have enough plants in there, they're working on it, and you're not going to see stressed fish because it won't be high enough to create a problem. which is why I say take your test kit and lock it in a drawer and throw away the key, because it's just going to drive you nuts trying to follow something that nature already has control over. And you mucking around with it and trying to adjust this or that, or simply throwing the natural balance out of whack and creating chaos out of order. And that's so much a part of what traditional, I shouldn't call it that. It's not traditional fish keeping. I don't know what to call it exactly. We need a word for it. We need to we need to not only describe it, we need to label it. We need a label for what happened to the hobby between the 50s and the year 2010 or 2000. Wallstead was the turning point in that and remains the turning point. Now, it wasn't the turning point that was brand new. It was hearkening back to what everybody was doing for 2,000 years until all of a sudden industry or industrialists determined that they could make things and con people into buying them for this delightful hobby that was so popular. There were 100 fish stores in every city in the country 100 years ago. 100, 200 years, nearly, not quite. 150 years ago, certainly. 150 years ago, every city in this country had, or in the US and in Europe, had well over 100 stores selling what? Selling fish tanks and selling local fish. Local, mind you. Fish out of the bay, out of the ocean, out of the creek, out of the river, out of the stream. Nothing was in Florida to bring it up. Nobody figured out how to move it. It wasn't until they started shipping goldfish in milk containers on trains that we began to get goldfish out of the South up here in more northern regions. And then in the late 50s, mid to late 50s, they started shipping some tropical fish, guppies, platies, mollies, a few local tetras, started shipping them in milk containers or something of that sort until Merle Cohen, who was a childhood friend. He wasn't a child when I was. He was a bit older than me, 15, maybe 20 years older. Well, not that much. He was 25. He was 10 years older. Until he figured out that you could use plastic bags to ship fish. And then he figured out you could put them in styrofoam or boxes. I guess he started with cardboard boxes and then styrofoam. He was using newspaper before that. When styrofoam was invented, he was making boxes out of it. He was using the first as essentially crunched up peanuts. And then it went to boxes. That was in the late 50s, early 60s. Not that long ago. What's that? 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And then that brought in a whole new population of fish. So people got enormously excited about it, and mercantilists began developing all of these dry goods products and chemicals and everything else. You need this to keep your fish healthy. You need this to make the tank look pretty, whatever it was. And 99% of it was junk, trash. In fact, worse than that, 99% of it was destructive of the hobby. There were things that were not: fish nets, fish tanks, heaters, air pumps, filters, really important stuff. Stuff that's made keeping fish so much easier and so much better than it was before. And then they got into chemicals. Chemicals. That's the scourge. The scourge is the chemicals. Do not put any chemicals in your water. I don't care what they are. I don't care how good they are. I don't care if they've been brought down by doves from heaven. Don't put them in your tank. Just don't do it. Nobody's doing that to the lakes and rivers and creeks and streams out in the real world. Put in there, put in your tank what is put in there, and you'll be doing right. So we need to get back to that. And we need to get out of this chemo. Chemo. It really is chemo. It's really not equipment so much. Now there's some equipment. You know, the what's it called? The God up here. That's a problem here. Um, the the light that burns, the light that kills. What is that? Not X-ray. The other one. The red. Is it red or blue? It's red, isn't it? I don't remember. Nobody's nobody's no nobody's commenting. Everybody's, oh dear. 7:56, 8 o'clock. We're at 8 o'clock. So I didn't write it. Somebody put in there what I'm talking about. Anyway, anything that kills anything, anything, the purpose of which is to kill, is not anything you want in your fish tank. So if it has a deadly function, don't use it, because it's not species specific. They may say it is, but what they're really saying is that some species are more sensitive to this toxin than others, but all are. Rest assured, all are. It's like the dreaded cancer treatment involving chemotherapy, which is designed to kill the cancer before it kills the body. It's a poison, it's a toxin that's delivered in such a way as to put the body through the deepest possible stress, in the belief that the cancer is not as strong as the body. And it works about 50% of the time for a while. The cost is immense in general health. Do not put toxins in your fish tank, or for that matter, in your body. I don't care what MD is saying you need to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And I'm not speaking as a doctor, I'm speaking as a pastor and a friend, as one who loves the Lord and who believes in the natural world, as as a world of health and wholeness. So, oh, what are your thoughts on the micro lift? I haven't looked at it. You're making me look at all this stuff. Remind myself micro lift. Although there's a micro facelift, that's not. facelift. All right, we got to go back. Micro lift um, aquarium for aquarium. Let's see what it's got. Here we go. Micro lift products designed to rapidly cycle, reduce ammonium nitrate. Okay, I do have a thank you for that. I do have a comment about that. It's wholly unnecessary and probably puts stress on the available microbial life and may artificially increase it exponentially to a point where it's not able to survive. So it's a balancing act, and you need to let that balance occur naturally. You can spike it, but then what happens at the end of the spike? You start losing because you haven't built up the foundation. It's like trying to build the roof before you build the foundation or before you build the walls. I got this beautiful roof. Look at it. Look, I put so much money into this roof. And there it is, sitting on the ground. And it's too heavy to lift. So I've got to build something else and then use it as a model for a new roof or try to figure out how to live under it. Yeah, it's counterintuitive, I guess is what I'm really saying. And as such, it has a tendency to create problems that would not otherwise be there. It's like a lot of things. It'll give you an initial flush. Then like you think, wow, this is great stuff. And then a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line, you start seeing dead material that shouldn't be there because you've created a massive biology that has nothing to feed on. And if you try to keep up with that, then you wind up trying to create a natural balance with whatever you can accumulate and throw into the tank. And that'll make you even crazier. That'll make you really nuts because you can't do what nature does naturally. You're not smart enough. And you haven't been in it long enough to understand it. Nor has anyone else. I certainly have not. I depend utterly on the system to take care of itself. And I'm constantly impressed with how effective it is. Now, if I start seeing a weakness that I think I can do something about, I'll add more plants, maybe add a little more sand, maybe add some more leaves, but I don't overdo it. I don't push it. I don't try to get more going on in there than it can naturally and easily handle. And how do I know that? Well, I back off. I keep my hands out of it for a long enough period of time to see what it actually is doing. And if it actually is doing well, then I know I'm okay. And if it's not, I try to figure out why it's not. Sometimes it's obvious, more often it's not at all. More often you have to spend the time thinking about it and looking at it. And that's what our Discord server, the Father for Soul, is for. It's a place to be able to park yourself and park your aquarium, get it posted, get it up there, get a channel with it. So you're posting pictures of it and short video clips of it on a routine basis. And then others can look at it and get a sense of what's going on. So if you have something strange happening, you can share that. And you can share it in a way that's genuine sharing, that has an intimacy about it, that has a personal contact about it, and be talking with someone on a daily basis or over a long period of time about your aquarium. It's like having an online club. Clubs are absolutely amazing. We're going to be starting a new club, hopefully this spring. we're trying to get financially stable enough to be able to do it, but that's coming along. Thank you all very much for your support. And please, as you need plants, check out our store first. If we don't have what you want, perfectly understandable. But if we do, we want to provide you with the best that can be provided. We want to give you the best deal and the best quality, and we really work hard at doing that. The reason we're doing it, by the way, and I know you guys understand it, but for those naysayers that say, oh, there's Father Fish, he's given himself up to the man. Well, I don't know who they think the man is. I really don't. But providing support for families, helping people who need help, creating an environment where there's shared resources, I don't think it's being the man. I think it's being a good steward. And I try to be a good steward with this. I take home essentially nothing. Everything that comes in is going out, and it's going to other people who are participating. We have literally dozens of people who are on a daily basis who are involved in this whole natural aquarium father fish process. It's a pretty big organization. I don't know anybody who's doing more. Some of the really big guys, maybe, I don't know. I know they have staff and they have big staff. Well, I've got big staff, but they're not making big bucks. And I struggle to keep them on board and to allow them to continue serving and providing and in turn getting the support that they need for their families. So enough of all that. I thank you for your support and hope to be able to grow to the point where we're doing more for more folks. I would very much like to be able to get the supplement and the soil available commercially so that it could be sold into other pet shops. And ultimately, we're going to do that. It takes a little money to put the pieces together, but we're going to be able to do that. We also need to learn how to do that, how to get it out to folks. But we do have some shops that have expressed interest. And once we can get it together so that we're packaging things to be able to ship out, then we absolutely are going to start doing that. And that will get supplement around the country, and maybe we'll be able to figure out how to get it around the world. I don't know about that. I think it's something we have to produce in various countries. So at that point, we'll be helping the folks in England and Australia and Canada and where else? South Africa, Indonesia, India, Turkey, where else? Spain, um, South America, Brazil, who are making the supplement and selling it to their kinsmen, selling it to the folks in their country. And we don't take any part of that. That's their business. It's not proprietary. We haven't patented the formula. We allow anyone to use it, to make it, and to be able to make money on it if they were able to do that, to be able to provide it to more folks and make a little business out of it. It's what we all try to do. Our hobby becomes expensive. It becomes important to try to get a little money back so that we can build it and grow it. Ryan is indeed often awesome. Ryan is my bio teacher, Jacob. Oh, that's wonderful, Jacob. Happy to see you here. Yeah. Right. Right. Talking about MD and his support of the chemical system. Yeah, that's what's supporting it. That's he's doing something very different though. I mean, his what he's doing is artistic. It is artistry, and it is a very high, very extremely high level of aquatic artistry. His tanks don't stay up long. If they're up for a year, that's long. He may have a few longer, but generally he'll break down a tank that's been up for a period of time and do something new with it. So it's a different approach than we're taking. I very much appreciate MD, appreciate everything he's doing, and I'm very supportive of that, realizing that he's not really able to do what we're doing, but he does support us in our efforts. He is supportive of what we're doing. He understands it and he acknowledges its value and its importance. So we have we have no conflict with MD, not at all, or anyone else, frankly, virtually, other than those who don't like us, and we just try to ignore them. Let's see. Spotted fish can run a filterless aquarium. You can. I don't like to do it. I do it in small, like jars, obviously, and very small tanks. The reason I don't like to do it is because I understand the importance of water flowing. If there's a little bit of flow, then water is coming in contact with the surface and exchanging O2 and CO2. Now, that does occur naturally and normally, but with a little bit of flow, like from a sponge filter. And I don't use air stones because sponge filters are cheap and they do a little bit more. They provide a little more surface for bacteria and microfauna to thrive in. So they add value. They add biological value to the tank, and they move the water. They make a very slow current, but it's one that guarantees there are no dead spots. I I I am I lived in Florida long enough to see what happens even on the coast, the Gulf Coast, when dead spots are created. When, for example, the bottom may come up into a mound and water will flow around it. And it'll be maybe an acre large area, water flowing around it, water not flowing over it, flowing around it. And it becomes dead, and everything there dies. Everything, the crabs, the fish, the plants, the microfauna, macrofauna, all of it dies, and it becomes a foul, horrid mess. So I'm keenly aware of avoiding the possibility of dead spots, which is the primary reason I've got any kind of aeration going in my tank, because it adds just a small amount of flow, but it's enough to keep the water coming to the top where it can exchange oxygen for CO2. And it also provides some filtration, which means it's providing a breakdown of nutrients in the water column, which is especially nice. So it adds to the ability of uh, non-rooted plants to have a little more nutrient in the water column. It provides for that. Let's see. Good fish breeds that can sustain themselves off the ecosystem. I don't know what that means. Vitamin C will remove it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Vitamin C is amazing. We have research on that. We did. My Eve did a nice piece of laboratory research using vitamin C, demonstrating that it does reduce chlorine and chloramine. Let's see. What else? I have big-hearted staff. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Hello from the UK. Hey, Grandy Boyle. Nice to see you. Hagen Hill Design. Hello, hello. Delighted to hear from you. I love Hagen Hill Design. Absolutely do. People are fast to say how you are. Fish say, well, people who say what we're doing is wrong don't know what they're even saying is wrong. I mean, they really don't. They're just ignorant. They're ignorant. That is, they don't have the knowledge that we share. They just don't, and they don't want to. And so they close themselves off from it. Nothing worse than a mind that's deliberately blind. Nothing worse. LRB says not to do filterless if you're using lids. Yeah, that's right. He doesn't use lids, by the way, but he's absolutely right about that. Talk about dead spots. That seals the tank, so you can't get oxygen into it. It'll eventually suffocate the fish. Thank you for bringing it up, LRB. There's my hero. Without LRB, I would not be here. Guaranteed. LRB got my start, got me started in YouTube. He got me over the threshold. He got me out of the bottomless pit. Hope I'm having a great evening. Actually, I am. It's after 8 o'clock. I'm in here for an hour and a half, and I'm still going strong. So feeling pretty good about it. I think I would like to do a 2 hour. So we'll just keep going with this for a while. What else? Thanks for the book. The book, by the way, is at the publisher. We're finishing up the final edit on the back cover and the front cover. As soon as that's done, the guts of it are approved and ready to go. Once that's done, then it goes to press. I don't know how long it'll take them to print it. It could be 6 months. It could be 1 month. I have no idea. I don't know what their backlog is in their print shop. But whatever it is, we will be in the last stage. And at that point, once it's published, it will go into all the bookstores. It'll go online. It'll be available in Amazon. In other words, we already have set up a distribution for the book that'll give it the best possible chance of a very broad and very wide distribution. In addition to which, we will be buying copies and selling them autographed, at least by me, if not by the other authors, off of our store. The difficulty with doing this with the other authors is that 3 of them are on the continent, which means we'd have to send books over there and back. And we probably won't do that. What we might do is an addendum page that we can have them all sign and add those addendum pages, or even addendum pages that we can include from each of the authors. So we'll figure out a way to do it. Don't really know yet. Maybe the fly cover, we could maybe get extra copies of that or something. I don't know. We'll work it out so that you'll be able to get signed copies. But I will be signing copies for sure. And I know Ryan will. He'll be thrilled too. And then the other folks, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm missing someone. Who am I missing? My brain just doesn't work anymore. There's somebody else here in the States that I don't know. Anyway, they're 5. I should look at the book. That would that would tell me. Anyway, where are we? I'm just about to completely redo my fish tank. Excited to start fresh with new substrate and fresh plants. Nice. Kyle imagines. Nice. For a 75 rescape. Well, that'll be great. That'll be exciting. Tank needs to breathe. Right. It's exactly right. Hagen saying to Elf, tanks need to breathe. Let's see if there's anything else here I've noticed that I missed. I don't think so. I got it all. I'm not seeing anything else. Excuse me. How we doing? 8:20. I'm gonna knock it off at 8:30. I'm running out of gas. About 5 more minutes. What do I think of a planted deep substrate in a large fish bowl? 5 gallons without error filter for about I think it's fine. Bed is breathed from the surface. They're not taking oxygen out of the water column, and plants are putting it back in. So it's going to work. It'll be fine. We do it all the time. We have bedders in jars all over the shop. That's how we keep our stock, basically, is in jars. I like to keep them in fish tanks. Brenda likes to keep them in jars. So most of them are in jars, very few are in tanks. But she's constantly pulling, she's finally figured out how to breed them. She now has 3 batches of bettas and God knows how many more set up and ready to go. So we're going to wind up with 10,000 bettas before long here. And that'll be fun. That'll be real interesting. I want her to learn how to deal with large numbers of fish because I want to do that. I want to get fish breeding in all of our vats. We've got 40 vats. They're like 30-gallon vats. And we should have species of fish going in every one of those tanks with babies growing up in them. We do in a few. It takes a bit of effort to get that going, but we're getting there. It's definitely coming. The critical component was getting brine shrimp hatching routinely and getting microworm culture going, because those are the two basic foods for baby fish. If you can do that, you can raise fish because you can get them through the first week or two where they require a very specific kind of food, namely tiny live food. Thank you, Pike Beecham. Appreciate it. John Shane, hope all is well. All is well. Thank you. All is indeed well. Greg, are you still here, Greg? Jeff would say. All right. All right. We're done. I'm worn out. I can't go the other half hour. I still need to get to the grocery store this evening. They close at 11, so I'm good to go. Love you all. Let's see what I can play. We should be able to. Oh, you know what I can play? Let's see if I can get it up. I love this. Our theme song. Let's see if I can get to it here. Dooby doo. Uh-oh. I don't think I can get to it because the live stream takes the place of it. That's crazy. How do I do this? I don't know how do I do this? Well, there is a way. I can go into. I need to have it saved off separately. Is what I need to do. Go into manage videos and find it. I'm gonna find it. It is Father Fish at Home. Here it is, right here. All right, now we can open. And I got to get the volume turned on. And we're going to do it. Now, I want to get back to here. I want to open it. Slides and PDFs. Is that it? That's not what I want. This is what I want. That's not what I want. What's going on here? I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Is it, have we got it? No. Oh, video file. It's not a video file. I've lost my mind. I've completely lost it. Leave studio. I don't want to do that. Okay, let's do this. Let's shut this down. See if that allows us to get where we want to be. Sorry about this, guys. Share screen. Okay, we got it now. Father Fish at Home. Got it there. Got it there. Coming back. Got it here. Let's get back into it and jump it up. Make it big.
Father Fish swims through the water with a wisdom deep and true, guiding us away from the mainstream to a natural point of view. His words like music to our ears, soothing every ache and pain. Bring nature back to your tank. Let his message reign. Embrace the beauty of the wild. Let your fish thrive. Father Fish teaches us nature's beauty and grace, leading us to a better way, a peaceful place. His methods may be different, but they're tried and true, overcoming struggles with a natural point of view.
Love it. So nostalgic.
Through the rocks and plants, the fish find peace and play. Father Fish's teachings lighting up their day. No more crowded tanks or fake decor, just nature's tender touch. Embracing the balance, loving it so much. Father Fish's legacy, a vision we embrace. Father Fish teaches us nature's beauty and grace, leading us to a better way, a peaceful place. His methods may be different, but they're tried and true, overcoming struggles with a natural point of view. Father Fish teaches us nature's beauty and grace, leading us to a better way, a peaceful place. His methods may be different, but they're tried and true, overcoming struggles with a natural point of view. Father Fish teaches us nature's beauty and grace, leading us to a better way, a peaceful place. His methods may be different, but they're tried and true, overcoming struggles with a natural point of view.
God bless you all. Love you all. Bye for now.